So today being the last day on the SWIP tour, I'm making my way down this canyon. Actually, it looks like I just left the canyon finally. And I'm headed off to Highway 93, which down on the one side of Highway 93, those big mountains in the distance out there, that's the sheep range. They were set aside for desert bighorn habitat. And then off over to my southeast of where I am is the Delamar Wilderness. So where I'm coming, like where the SWIP's going to travel down eventually, down this canyon to Highway 93, and then on down Highway 93, this is kind of a nexus or a focal point for these wilderness areas. And this is an area in particular that's going to be heavily impacted over the next 10 years. We're going to have solar farms down in the Coyote Springs area, possibly feeding into the SWIP line. We're also possibly looking at a natural gas pipeline coming down this valley. And so what's it going to be like, 10 years from now, when these animals are trying to move from one range to the other, these desert bighorn or other creatures that live out here, how much different is this going to be 10 years from now? Like what's it going to be like compared to what I see today? Ran into Christy, Mackenzie, and Greg at Highway 93 at the top end of Delamar Valley, and got some water from them. And then cruised into a really nice stand of yuccas, like basically a yucca forest. And it's pretty impressive when you look at those from far away. They're like, oh yeah, and I've seen plenty of those, been in a lot of time in Big Bend. But when I got up in them, they're full of life. Like there's birds everywhere. It was just amazing how inverse, or not inverse, but how closely related having cover like that is for providing habitat for creatures. Like I was seeing hawks, jackrabbits, lizards galore. Even when I was sitting down having lunch, like a mourning dove almost landed within reaching distance from where I was sitting. And so the fact that I've been out here and that we've been able to document some of what I've seen and what I've experienced, it could also have an impact in the future for helping mitigate the impacts of these feeder projects that could be coming into the power line. And, looking back several days when I was crossing the Egan's, that's the last place, that I would want to see a power line crossing. But, now looking back at the whole corridor as a whole, I realized that, that's a small place for the power line to cross. It's the path of least resistance. It's a low point in the Egan Range. It's an area that had literally, it was dotted with mines everywhere. Tons of mines that you wouldn't even see on the map, but I saw them on foot since I hiked through there. Overall, I've learned a ton about these kinds of projects that are coming to Nevada, and with this fast track policy and hundreds, billions of dollars of money being made available for these projects to happen. Just because what's coming down the pipeline, and I just use that as a term, obviously this one's a power line, but whatever coming down it may be generated in a green fashion, i.e. wind power, geothermal. And we call these things green. We're comparing them to things like coal, which are pretty harsh on the environment. So although these things that are coming down, what's carried by these projects may be what's called green power, how they're being brought and delivered to you may not be green. And I think it's really awesome that LS Power has been meeting with the NWP folks regularly to discuss that they're willing to do things like put up towers that don't allow birds of prey to perch on, to hunt from. I think that's killer. And just their willingness and to want to talk. I know that the guys who were shooting the documentary were able to catch up with one of them and interview them. And I think that's just awesome. I think that kind of transparency is unique. And I think there's a lot of firsts regarding this power project, a lot of precedents being set, and I think it could really set the table moving forward with some of these other projects that are going to be crossing Nevada. That's the hook for me in the end, getting involved with this, you know, to have my walking be part of something, to be part of a discussion and to get people to think, and to have my walking have an environmental aspect to it. That's a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity, and I'm really grateful for that. So it's been, even though the last few days have been hard, it's all been a win-win situation for me.